Hello and welcome to another episode of the Electric Communion podcast. In this episode, I'm delighted to be talking to Jaime and Loïc, better known as the duo Pole Position. Based in Barcelona, these guys are at the top of the game at the moment. They've just come back from a big tour of Central and South America, playing at the likes of Bar Americas and Tulum. And they've just released their new track Sunlight on Agora's Sapiens label. Both of them have incredible stories to tell about what they did before they started Pole Position. And to be honest, I'd rather not give any spoilers away at this point. As well as talking about life prior to Pole Position, they discussed the current club scene in their home city of Barcelona, their working relationship, and the labels Anims, which has released music by so many respected names on the scene, including many artists who've appeared on this podcast. And just to let you know, certain points during the interview, Loïc had to go and attend to a tradesperson who turned up at the house, but Jaime does a sterling job of keeping the conversation going in his absence. Now, if you are new to this podcast or you're a regular, can I please ask you to subscribe to my Instagram channel at electric_communion if you're not already doing so. You'll find lots of short, regular conversations with DJs, promoters, and producers within the indie and melodic house scene there. Recent guests include the legend that is Steve Lawler, Black Loud, Secret Factory, and Pole Position themselves, who talk about that aforementioned release Sunlight. You can also find links in the bios to all my other full-length podcasts, which include the last one I did with the excellent Claudio Ricci. Thanks for all the feedback on that one. There's Mira, Red Freya, James Harcourt, and many more. Please like and subscribe to whatever platform you do check them out on. It only takes a second, but it does mean a lot. And yeah, you can also watch this podcast on my YouTube and Spotify channel if you're not currently doing so, and that's your preferred way of digesting your podcast. And finally, check out my Soundcloud channel. Just Google Electric Communion Soundcloud or find it via the links in my Instagram bio. There's loads of mixes from me there that include many of the artists who've appeared on this podcast. Right, okay, seatbelts on, and let's get into that chat with Pole Position. Jaime and Loïc, welcome. You're both better known as the duo Pole Position, and I want to start by unpacking the name because I'm guessing that as well as being possibly a reference to, being in a leading position within the electronic music scene, for those who don't know Jaime, there's a strong link to your former profession. So can you tell us a little bit about what you used to do?
I was a racing driver for many, many years. I started when I was a kid. And basically, I just started to race professionally. And at some point, things started to go well. I started to win some good championships. And then I raced in F1 for 3 years with Red Bull, with Red Bull Speed Team, which it was called Toro Rosso. Music was every time my passion, my hobby, listening to music and starting to play records with my friends in Ibiza. And at some point, I started to play in some, private parties for my friends. And then it became my job when I retired like 10 years ago, around 10 years, yeah.
Right. And I did read that when you started your Formula One career, weren't you the youngest driver ever to start in the Formula One?
Yeah, at that time I was the the youngest Formula One driver, and everything came so quick and so sudden. It was a difficult time for me because probably I wasn't really ready for the challenge. But it was the way it went, and after a couple of races, I started to make good points, and for the team, so a couple of seventh, eighth places. F1, it's really a lot about having the right how do you say, like the right tools, like the right technology in order to be competitive and the right to be in the top. So I enjoyed my time there. There's a bit of frustration, of course, because if you're a racing driver, you want to win. or you want to be in the top, and you know you can't because you've always been there in junior categories. So it's a bit frustrating not to be able to be in the really, really top. But I enjoyed my time there. It was great. You know, I met a lot of people. I had a great time in F1, of course. Some side of me misses that competition side of it. But now I'm in a new challenge, which is great. Music making, it's my real passion and job, and I love it. So yeah.
And Loïc, I'll bring you in here. Are you a Formula One fan as well? And is that how you met Jaime?
So I met Jaime a few years ago, and we became friends. I was a big fan of Formula One, so I was really hungry to listen all these stories and all the things from the backstage of the Formula One. So it was really interesting, and I was being a DJ, myself, and my main job was doing music festival. I was a festival promoter, so I co-founded Brunch Electronik, of Sonar, and a few other events in Spain, Portugal mainly. And eventually I had a small residence in a club. I invited Jaime to play with me the whole night, and we had a cool back-to-back. The whole night was really nice, really pleasant to play together. And it all started as a joke, because I said we should start a duo. And as a duo, I was thinking about the name, and the name Pole Position came out because it was force, that means a lot, because of pole position. It's when you are the first on qualification and you start first on the track on the Sunday. There is the thing of leading, moving forward, being the best, and also it's two words, so we are a duo. So pole position, it really made sense, and it all started as a joke. But then when we really realized we would like to do something together. We had to think about a name, and it always came back to pole position. So at the end, the joke became reality.
And Jaime, just before we move on from Formula One, I mean, I guess, on paper, one might think that the F1 industry and the dance music industry are two very different, contrasting worlds. However, if you dig deep, and I was thinking about this, there's probably also, many parallels to be drawn by the two. Is that correct, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. Many parallels. The first one is marketing, which is probably now the number one thing in the world. Formula One has done a huge upgrade in the last few years since it has been picked up by Liberty Media, and they've done great job in terms of their brand. Their branding is amazing now. Like when I was racing, it was very different back then. It was 15 years ago, but now it's huge. And I guess something similar happened in the business of electronic music, as in any other industry. So marketing is now one of the main things and factors to get to know and to be known in the world. So I would say that that's probably the main common thing between the both worlds.
And do you feel that working in that high-pressured environment of the F1 industry put you in good stead for the life of a DJ, being up there in front of, thousands of people?
I think there's pressure everywhere. I mean, in every job, if you want to be competitive, or let's say to do well or to become successful personally, but also, publicly, there is pressure, of course. Like you have to do well in many areas nowadays. You just don't have to play great sets or make great music. You have to have a very competitive profile in every aspect, and by that I mean in every single detail. And F1 is very similar. Now Formula One drivers are not anymore just drivers. They have to be present at media days, they have to be present at sponsor days, they have to be not robots, but almost. And that's something that we see not just in F1 or music. We see it in many other areas and worlds. And this is how it's working nowadays. It wasn't like this before. And now it just requires the maximum out of your profile on every single detail.
Sure. And Loïc, you mentioned then Brunch Electronica. That's one of the many projects I think you are invested in. I think you also mentioned Off Sauna then. Can you tell us a little bit about Brunch Electronik? Brunch Electronik and the idea behind it. From what I can gather, there's a real kind of focus on community and making dance music accessible for everyone.
Yeah, actually, it's been a few months now that I stopped being involved at Brunch Electronic. I sold my shares to a big leading group in the industry called Superstruct to fully focus myself on electronic music, on being a DJ in the electronic music scene. Sorry. Um, Actually, when we all started, just to make a small reminder, it was like in 2012. And back then, what we really established, I believe, in Barcelona and in Spain, it was this thing that is really normal now, is to do like clubbing by day, you know. Back then, there were a few things, but it was not the thing, you know. And I was reading an article the other day that even Ibiza, you know, starting to be like just like the day is becoming more important than the night, and in a lot of places, and after COVID also, you know, the people, they don't want to go out late, and they're more thinking about like their well-being, health, stuff like this. So I think now, like after 14 years, I realized almost 15 years, that's we were kind of the first one to really establish this, like in a public park, going clubbing until 10 p.m., 11, you know.
Loïc, was that because did you predict that things were going to change? Did you see a kind of gap in the market back then?
There were a gap in the market, and at the beginning, I used to live in Montreal in Canada. So first we imported, sorry, a concept from there called Picnic Electronic, which was, I believe, well, probably the first one doing this, like on the Sunday afternoon. Also, the day we were using was quite unusual. It was Sunday afternoon, you know, not Saturday. So you know, we really believed it could be something different, you know, and it was not big in Europe, and it was really fitting. I mean, the marriage with Barcelona got along like super well. So this is where it all started. We were three partners, and then we finished with a company about like almost 100 employees, you know, when I sold it. And yeah, no, it's part of the past of my life. I don't know if I'll be a promoter again one day, but now my focus is on pole position, and I really love this industry and really would like to make my place now as an artist.
But you mentioned Montreal, and that's because I've done my kind of homework. You got a business degree there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I used to live in Montreal. I lived 6 years in Montreal. And actually, yeah, the funny story is that I went to the Formula One Grand Prix in Montreal, and it's I think it's the first time Jaime was scoring. Oh no, it was a good result for you.
No, yeah, it was a very good result, but it was the longest F1 race ever.
Ever,
Still now, because it rained so hard, and Loïc was there.
Yes, I was in the
but we didn't know each other.
We didn't
Okay, so you didn't actually meet then?
No.
We didn't actually meet. He knew I was racing, and then when I met Loïc a couple of years after, actually 3 years ago.
10 years after.
Yeah, we met like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And Loïc told me that he was there present at that race.
Right.
So yeah, it was a funny story.
Yeah. And Loïc, do you think that, you know, you would have still had the confidence to start that Brunch Electronik venture if you hadn't had that business acumen that you learned at university? I mean, how much did that help you?
It helped a lot, actually, because I really always loved music, and then electronic music became my passion when I was like 18, 19 in Montreal. And I studied marketing, and then I became, before being a promoter, I was a publicist, you know. I was working I was an advertising guy, you know, in Montreal. So in all the events we were doing, I was in charge of the booking, the marketing, and all the setup, the stages, the decoration, and everything. So the marketing part really helped, and also the business side really helped to understand how our business works. But I was really young, and actually studying is really important. But what is really important after is the experience you get after years of working, and yeah. But it was I really happy I did I studied this.
Mm. And what were some of the highlights for you of Brunch Electronik? I mean, in terms of artists, I saw you had people like Dixon on, and you also branched out, didn't you, and started to do it in other parts of the world as well, right?
Yeah, it was like was for me what was the highlights is when you love electronic music and you're collecting vinyls, and you are alone in your small student room in Montreal when I was back then, buying vinyls and listening some people. And those people eventually became my very good friend, So some heroes that had idol, that became friend. I even do some management at some point, and I was like managing some people. I was really I really liked when I was a teenager, so it was really special for this. And then the highlight every year, it was a new challenge, and we did like huge things. I think 3 years ago we did the show of Kane Music in Madrid. It was 35,000 people. It was the main biggest show of Canadian music until then. After they did Berlin last year, that got bigger, but it was really a big show. It's still the biggest electronic show in Madrid ever happened, for one artist. And booking everybody I love, and became friends with them, like from Carl Cox to The Fire, Dixon, Massoplex, all of them. We were booking the whole spectrum of electronic music except EDM. We are not doing EDM, but I was always saying that we're a friend of Marco Carola and also Deg Montel sound system. So that was the full spectrum. So that was really cool to be a promoter involved in the full spectrum of electronic music.
Amazing. And you both live in Barcelona, right?
Yeah.
What is the kind of clubbing landscape like in Barcelona at the moment? Because I'm always very interested to talk to guests from all over the world, and you kind of keep hearing the same story. You already alluded to how the traditional kind of clubbing format is changing. Is it still thriving in Barcelona, or is it, are you seeing kind of clubs closing like you are in Berlin and London, etc.?
To be honest, I start to on this one because I have a very defined idea because of this question. Actually, that Barcelona is one of the only city in the world where there is a very very stable institution that are here since 30 years and not moving. Like we have Razmataz, Nizza, um, Moog and Macarena. Look, we have two clubs. There are even two small clubs, but Moog and Macarena, they are open every day, 365 days of the year, since 25 years. So we have this big institution, Primavera, Sona, and it brings a big stability into the city. So these clubs, they are here, they are staying also because we have a lot of tourism, and it's always working. And then there's newcomers, new clubs. Of course, there's new things that open and close, but the market in general, of course, is affected by everything that happens in the electronic music scene in the world. But still, there is a big stability. There is some institution, and you have input. You have these clubs that are staying, and new things. That just Boris just opened last year. It's a super nice club. Chica opened. There will be a new clubs opening in the next months. So I think we are quite lucky actually in Barcelona.
Nice to hear some positive stories then. Let's talk about pole position. I saw a recent post where you said producing is often uncomfortable, sitting with ideas that don't work, questioning instincts, starting over more than finishing, which I thought was very honest. What do you both kind of bring to the pole position dynamic, and what's your working relationship like? Are you always on the same page, or do you have many creative differences?
Well, I think, what you've just said, it's part of every daily artist headache. And I think that's great to have, because if it would be easy, it would have been done by everyone, like great hits from every artist. And that's the way I think to move forward for us. We work hard on music. Not everything works. Not everything we finish or we find maybe attractive, we want to publish or to make it public. So it's really a question of try and error, defining our sound. Pole position is a project which is still, which is under construction. For many artists, probably they find themselves for a very long time under construction, but we're still defining our sound. We have a label. We feel where our roots are coming from. And this project would have not been possible if Loïc and I wouldn't feel comfortable together in the booth playing music. He earlier said that we kind of knew each other playing all night long in Macarena, one of the Barcelona's institution club. And then I saw that, okay, we are understanding each other when we play music, and music is really the answer of everything. I get very well with Loïc when I'm in the booth, because I have fun, I enjoy. And this is really, really my very, very honest and transparent answer to your question. Like, if I wouldn't feel comfortable with him playing, this project would have never been possible. And I think he would feel the same. So every time we are stepping in the booth, we find solutions even for our relationship. So music is like a healing process for us. And it really helps our inspiration as well when we're in the studio, when we make new things happening. I always try to put myself into a very uncomfortable zone in order to make new things coming up or new unexpected things. It's difficult because, you've always tried new ideas and new things that comes to your head, but maybe don't work. But I think that's the key of it, to try to take an instrument and maybe play it the wrong way, and maybe play it in a way that was never like kind of listened before or expected to be listened in that way, So yeah, we're trying hard. We are really looking forward to put all the music that we've been making since now till now. And we still have a lot of work to do, and we really can't wait to give that to the public and to really establish our sound, which we are really focusing on, and we are working on it.
Talking about music, you've just released a new track on Sapiens called Sunlight, and listeners can head to my Instagram page to see a little interview we did about that track specifically. But what else can we expect from Pole Position this year?
So we have a lot of releases coming out. We just signed 2 EPs with a label that we really enjoy, because they have been lately releasing a lot of really great stuff. It's called Madora's in the House. They've been very positive on our music. So we have a couple of releases in there. We're looking forward as well to work with our label, with Anims, which we are really pushing a lot of effort in there. We have two other releases coming with Watergate, one remix from our good friends Emmanuel Satie and Tim Engelhardt, which they're remixing a track we've released with Watergate the end of last year. And there's another release, a single release coming with Watergate with a remix from Cotier. So I think, we are really on it. We are pushing hard. So still some music to be heard. We have another release coming with Iconic, and they're printing vinyl as well. So that's looking quite good as well for early summer. And yeah, keep on the good work and trying to be as consistent as possible with the music, trying to give the very best. We are now releasing as well a remix from our friends Imbermind, which is going to be released on the Sony sub-label here in Spain. So a little bit more commercial, but on the indie dance kind of side, melodic, which is more or less our thing. And we can't wait for every single release to be listened and published, of course.
Look forward to that. And you've just been touring, haven't you, in Central America, South America as well, I think? Tulum, Bar Americas. What was that like? There seems to be a huge fan base over there for melodic and progressive house.
Yeah, it's definitely a place where we have also our fan base. We're going like 4 or 5 times a year in South America, Latin America, sorry. Actually, our last show in Bar Americas went so good that the owner and booker Ramon, he offered us to be kind of resident. So we're gonna have like 3 dates a year there. So we will go back and forth like even more often. It's super nice for us. I mean, it's easy for us because we speak Spanish. So eventually, there is this connection, natural connection with the market and with all the culture over there. We love to go there because every country has the same language, but they have the different culture, and different way of partying and clubbing and going out, and it's very nice to see. And yeah, melodic, and I mean, we don't define ourselves doing like really melodic thing, but I think our music is working quite well over there, and we feel home when we're up there.
Nice, yeah. I saw lots of the footage, as I said, and it looked a real vibe.
Yeah.
Jaime, for those who aren't familiar with your solo project, Squire, and I learned only yesterday that the name Squire comes from your surname, right? Is it Escudero? I hope I've said
Yeah.
that right.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
know
like
that.
it's like the translation in English. Yeah.
Right, okay. I'm a big fan of Squire. How would you say your approach differs to pole position? And for example, do you employ different methods in the studio, etc.?
To be honest, the Squire is on a standby process since 3-4 years, I would say. I took things very differently. When I met Loïc, for me, it was a game changer because Loïc has formation. He has studies. He's a businessman. Uh, Unfortunately, I couldn't go to university because I spent all my life doing
Driving
sports
cars?
and yeah. So Loïc helped me massively to understand the industry in a different way, and therefore for me was like it's being a process of understanding how all of this works. It's not just making art and that's it. It's okay, when you sit in the studio, what are you thinking on when you're playing music? How do you, like, you're a performer, you're not just a DJ playing records. Probably that was my idea, and I'm understanding many things now with how relationships work in the music night, how to smile to the people, things like that. And people, at the end of the day, it's really all about the crowd. They're going there for the party. They want to have fun. They're looking at you. So it's a celebration. It's a party. So you're supposed to smile and to give good feedback. And there are many aspects as well, when I started working with Loïc, that when pole position started to my life, I started to understand, and I'm still in this kind of process of learning and growing myself and maturing myself, not just as a professional, but also like as a persona. So it's very helpful to have someone, like Loïc in the project, that kind of made myself a little bit much more open in these many areas, and as well is definitely affecting positively my art and trying to get probably, of course, the roots of Squire into a 2.0 model, and trying to make my very best to the crowd and the fan base that we already have. And yeah, just trying as well to enjoy the whole process, which is really all about, the whole growing process. It's important to enjoy it, I think.
Are you ever planning to resurrect the Squire project?
At the moment, it's not in my list, because I'm really, really focused on pole position. I believe this like heavily, big time. I always say like we are in the junior category in Formula 3 or Formula 2, trying to win the championship. I know this is not competition, but with Loïc, knowing Loïc, I've felt I'm back into racing, because he's like a very ambitious guy, and it's never enough. And this is the way to move forward, honestly, because you just can't sit in your studio and think that things are gonna happen just by naturally. So you have to push, in all areas. We have to think out of the box in all areas. It's not just making music. Again, it's in all the different topics and every single detail. And I think with Loïc, it's been great to always have this kind of firework in in your body, to feel that we need to keep going. Like you can't stop the machine, and therefore I'm really, really pushed by and like driven by pole position, by this project. So at the moment, I don't have any idea of Squire. It's in there. It has sit there for some years. There's some music. I'm very proud of the album that I released some time ago on Mobile, because it was like really, really personal album, without thinking on how it's gonna work, without thinking on the dance floor, because there's no tracks of dance floor. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Let's talk about your label, Anims. It's gone from strength to strength since you started up in early 2022. And if I'm right, your first release was Oriel Calvo, and you've since had many respected names on there, many of which have appeared on this podcast: Eva Massa, Julian Cordnell, Musa Meki, yourselves, of course. Good friends of mine, Fade, for example, and Channon Hanif. Did you primarily start up the label to serve as a platform to release your own music?
Anims was born in COVID, like during COVID times. First of all, I want to make this clear for many listeners that maybe don't know the origins of Anims. The word is a Catalan word. It's very similar in Spanish, but in Catalan means cheer up. Okay?
Right. Okay.
So things were very blurred and dark during COVID. Nobody was happy. Like, I don't know anyone who was happy during COVID. Things were kind of stopped, and we needed some motivation. We needed good energy. We needed something that spiced up and gives hope to everyone, And I feel that's something very needed in the industry of music. How many great producers, great hard workers, and I don't consider myself like a superstar, of course, but I'm a hard worker. I work hard, in the studio. And how many of us would like to have some good feedback from maybe our references or people that we really respect? Just a little cheer up, of somebody who maybe they don't sign your tracks, but they give you right, honest feedback with some hope that you're doing well, that keep going and don't stop. It's really about that, even if the music is not for that label or it's not the right time. Just, it's nice to receive honest feedback from somebody that tells you, keep going, keep doing it. There's some talent here. If you will make it. So for me, I really needed to build or to make a platform that give that message to the world. And that's the spirit of it. Anims doesn't have any strategy to release great names or to release famous people. Anims tries to release music from the heart, of course, with an origin of house music, which is my basic or my basics, let's say. But I want to sign, or I want to listen to music that spikes some differences to what it is in the market now. I feel we are oversaturated with a lot of very similar sounds and a lot of very similar kind of ideas, because making music now has become too accessible for everyone with the tools and the technologies that are being placed in there. And again, thinking out of the box and trying to go the other way around. I don't know how to say it, but just trying to think differently and just bringing up with a different storyteller that make people dance, or at least they give you like a big story to tell. It's something that has to be noted, and Anims tries to highlight those people. And that's why it's a honest label. I would say it's trying to have their own identity, which doesn't mean it has a very specific sound, like let's say melodic indie dance. It doesn't have to be. Good music is good music at the end of the day. I don't ask my grandmother if this is this kind of tag or this other tag. It's as simple as, do you feel it or do you not feel it? So that's it. Good music is good music. Maybe it's not for you, maybe it's for him, but it's just really about taste. So that's what Anims is all about. We don't follow trends, we don't follow famous big names. We just try to have our own personality, which is based in taste, curatorship.
And do you get your grandmother to listen to demos?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's very important. I think it's very important to play music that you love and that you feel to people that maybe are not very experienced in the world, or they are not really in the industry, because some of them are the people who want to go buy a ticket and see you know, and they must have a very honest or unexpected answer that you might not be able to see. And I think it's important to show music to all your friends. Some of them know a little bit more about music, some of them don't, but I want to show music to my karting friends who are not really in the world and see what they think. Many of them think that the track is too long. They don't understand intros or outros because, it's like feeling so repetitive. They don't understand that it has to be DJ friendly. But all this feedback gets in your head, and now you see every label or many of the labels and many artists are shorten the tracks. They go much more straight to the point. They skip intros. So the world is in constant change.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I guess it's the same like in terms of making your own music, isn't it? Sometimes you get so immersed in it, you've listened to it so many times, you maybe don't notice certain things, and it's good to get feedback from maybe somebody who is not really part of this industry to get that really honest feedback, isn't it? Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, and also, that's, I think, very important, that you have to risk. Like, you have to take risks, like in sports, like I'm not happy to go and listen to a DJ that is just following a playlist, or I'm not feeling like surprised if I listen to some demos and every demo sounds so similar. I like to see some risk there and see like, okay, this guy sending me something that it's so weird. There's no way I could ever play this record, or there's no way I could ever publish. But I like the fact that there's someone taking risks with, I don't know, saturations, with grooves, with melodies, with everything around. I have a friend here, Gespona, he's a very good friend.
I know
we
him.
have a lot of
here.
Yeah.
He's been on here.
Gonzalo, we had many long conversations about this. We see each other very often. We used to share studio. And how about what's next? And I'm like, dude, you have to have fun in the studio and just make strange things, weird things sometimes, because it might spike some attention from the bigger names out there, or even from yourself if you take risks. So I think it's very important to go out of your comfort zone and take these risks and maybe surprise yourself with a new sound or a new something. I think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, Gaspona and the Joliff's track Carnival. I think that's probably one of my favorite releases on the label. Talking about risk, I mean, what do you think maybe is the riskiest track you've released on the label in terms of sounds? Maybe quite different to your other releases.
We have a good friend.
Kevin De Serna, no?
Sorry?
The one of Kevin De Serna that
Yes.
became number one in electronic and Beatport, and it was good.
Yes, we didn't expect that, and that was, I would say, our first label achievement, like doing number one on Beatport, on electronica genre. I know electronica is not as big as melodic house, but we actually don't care. I don't feel music is a competition or it's not about podiums, but it was nice, honestly, to see our name beating Excel recordings, Turbo recordings, and Ninja Tune on the charts. And it was a track that we never expected to do so well. It was really like a breakbeat, melodic, epic chordy sound from a Kevin DeSerna. We released it on a VA. So also to highlight how important are VAs nowadays. People are not really thinking about that, but when labels are now putting a lot of effort on VAs, on compilations, on giving variety to people, because there's so many of us who are bored to listen to the same thing. So compilation is interesting because you have, or at least that's what we try to do with Anims. We try to give variety with different artists. We don't try to make all these huge playlists of various artists. Like, we try to keep it short but interesting and with variety. And this gives you the possibility to hit different markets, and of course as well to find new people that support that VA, you know.
What was the track of that Kevin DeSerna?
I actually don't remember the name because we've released a lot of music, but I will.
There's one Borrell, wasn't it? Borrell?
No, that's from our release actually, and we got a remix by Voon, Italian guy Vincenzo, which did very well. It was highly supported by Carl Cox. We had excellent results on that EP, on that release. And we had an Era remix as well. It was very nice. We've been enjoying the ride. We can't wait for this year. We have a lot of really interesting releases now happening. We have another interesting good friend and UK friend from London called Darlow. We love his music. We've been very supportive with him, and now we want to release more of his music. It's very interesting because he has like really a sound identity. Like you can really tell it's him, but it's some good stuff coming from this guy.
Yeah, I spoke to him on the podcast about his last release on your label. Yeah, nice guy. How do you decide then whether to release your own music on your label or not?
For many factors. First of all, we have to feel it's the right time of it. Like, I think the success of a release is not just about the track being good or bad. It's definitely about feeling, okay, is this track accurate for this time of the year? Do we have the right content? Because marketing has now become one of the first things in music. Do we have the right content, the right support of people? Do we feel it's going to work? And trust me, Rick, I tell you, it's not a mathematical world. I don't know if anyone there watching this interview knows, but I'm not the one to say I know the solution and I know the numbers. I know exactly how this release is going to do, because I don't have an answer for that. So it's still a question mark when you release a record that you think is going to do well and then it doesn't. We've released great music, or what I believe it's great music, and it hasn't hit from not just from us, from other people. I don't want to say our music is great, but we've released what we consider great music from other artists that hasn't done as expected from us and from them. And it's always a question mark. Why is this happening? Why is your music not getting playlisted? Why is not getting into the right charts? Why is not getting supported? Because we expected, we had great content and great support from other artists, and it's not getting radio plays whatsoever. And then we had other music that we never felt it was going to do well. One of them was the Kevin DeSerna tracks in a VA, and then it got number one. So it's a very unexpected world, but I guess that's also the thing,
By the time this podcast comes out, I probably will have announced, but I am starting a label, an Electric Communion Records label, as an extension of this podcast, in collaboration with my friend Fade, who has released on your label. I mean, There's lots of things I could unpick from what you said, which is great advice in itself, and I'm going to put you on the spot here. But if you can give me one good piece of advice, as I start out on this journey, maybe, if you look retrospectively back at your own journey with Anims, what would it be?
Digging music. Like, enjoy the fact of digging music. When I try to select something for Anims and try to sign something, it reminds me when I was 16 years old, going to the record shop and going through the records and trying to dig for something that it will spot, it would blow my mind, and then I would be absolutely surprised by what I'm looking and what I'm listening, and then I look at who has made and produced this track. So for me, having a label, managing a label is a beautiful process of music, because as you know, me and us together, we are music lovers, and that's the most important thing. You know, the whole process of finding new music, digging new music, finding new artists is amazing, because it's like, I don't know, it's just going to an island and finding where is the treasure. You know, you have to find for the treasure. You have to find the treasure, and there's so much great music out there. You just have to dig into it. You just have to find it, and there's many music out there, because we receive a lot of demos that are not going to be interesting, or it might be good music, of course, but you might not feel it. It might not go the way you feel your label should go, but keep going, you know. And I think the fact of all this hard digging is great, and you can do it every day. We listen to all the demos as much as we can that we receive. I ask for music personally to friends, to people that I like their music. I want to hear more, and the whole process is just beautiful. I think that would be my advice. Enjoy the fact of digging. Digging is really all about, you know, like it's digging.
Good. Well, I do love digging music, and yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. That sounds fun. I do need to ask you about your artwork, because I love the artwork on Anims as well. Who does that? Let's give them a shout out.
So thank you. I'm really happy that you say that. Again, for us, we just wanted to be different. You know, Anims is a label that was born in Barcelona. And what is Barcelona? Barcelona, for me, it's a colorful place, you know, where you have the sea, the mountain, the trees, and there's normally good weather. So this is Anims. You know, we are not from Berlin. We're not from London. Uh, we are coming from the Mediterranean. And that's what my eyes see. You know, they see a colorful space full of trees and blues and reds from the sun. And that's what we want to show in our artworks, you know, like we want to show a colorful space with, and it's the same for music. We want, I feel energy, you know, I feel like music has to become colorful. And that's what we try to express through art. Might be music, might be the artworks, and we have a great graphic designer who has understood the whole concept. Even though we're now rebranding, because with Loïc, there's always like a big, let's say, activity in that. Like we need to grow, we need to show something else, and we're always challenging ourselves to do something different and new. But yeah, like I'm happy to hear that.
Great. Yeah. Last question. I should say that Loïc is no longer with us at the moment. He's been called out, hasn't he? He's got someone come round to his house, what he's got to deal with. So he might not be able to answer this question. But, you know, obviously you guys are really, really busy with all your projects. I mean, you know, how do you manage your time effectively, and do you have much time to actually relax? And if so, what do you do outside of kind of the music projects?
Sorry,
Did you hear that, Loïc? Did you hear that question, Loïc?
Yeah. Well, actually, we are both doing sport. Me, I start to play golf. Jaime is really good golf player. Go to the gym, and me, I really like to dive. I'm scuba diver, so every time I can, I do that. You know, and then also it's really nice because we live in a very good city, and personally I also live like half of the year more or less in Ibiza. So every time we come back, like try to enjoy the city, because if we are away every weekend, no, actually last weekend I went to a club in Barcelona, and it was like 4 or 5 months since I didn't go out, in Barcelona. So I really liked, and we have a super nice city. It's a shame not to enjoy it, And yeah, sport and socializing.
Yeah. And I saw you just been on a holiday to, is it Mauritius?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the reason why I remember that is because my wife is half Mauritian, so
wow,
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. Very nice country. Have you been to?
No, I've never been. I've been married 17 years and I've never been.
You
Oh
should.
my God.
Even though she has family there, her
It's
sisters
time
have
to
been,
go.
but we've just never been. Yeah, she has
It's time-
been, but not in the time that I've known her.
Yeah.
it's
Maybe
time
she
to
doesn't
go.
want to invite me to me to meet her family, the rest of her family. I don't know. But yeah, what about you, Jaime? Same in terms of
What-
relaxing.
Yeah. I mean, for me, golf is my meditation place. It's very important for me to uh, just take my mobile phone and remove it for like 5 hours, 4 hours, stay with my friends. I have a good friend community here, and I enjoy so much this city. It's great. See Loïc, talk about the project, and hang out with friends. Loïc and I have a lot of friends in common as well, and we have good fun. It's a great place. It's a great place to be. You should come to Barcelona. I'm not sure if you've ever came here.
I have done, yeah, like a
Yeah.
long time ago, maybe 20 years ago, but I remember.
You should
I have
come
fond
back.
memories.
Sonar Week is the best week, I would say, for you to
Yeah.
come back.
I'd love to, yeah. Well, if
Yeah.
I do, I'll get in touch with you guys. Yeah,
Of course.
sounds fun. Listen, guys, thank you so much for your time today. It's clear that you don't have much. Been fantastic chatting to you, and yeah, good luck with everything.
Thank you so much, man. It was a pleasure.
That was Pole Position. Thanks again, Jaime and Loïc. Yeah, I'm sure you'll agree that was one of those conversations that leaves you so inspired. Those guys are so driven, pardon the obvious pun there, but yeah, super interesting guys. And if you're not familiar with their music or the excellent label Anims, I do urge you to check it out. Don't forget to check out my Instagram channel at electric_communion if you're not already doing so. And if you haven't yet listened to previous episodes, you can do so via the links in my bio there. And you can find the episodes on your platform of choice, including my SoundCloud page and YouTube page. You can also check out my Spotify page where there's a selection of work from all the artists who've appeared on this show. Finally, if you do dig the show, then please do support by liking, commenting, and sharing. It only takes a minute, but it really does mean a lot, and it's great to hear that people are enjoying these conversations. Yeah, and thanks to everyone who continues to support the growth of this podcast. You know who you are. Lots of exciting things coming up with this podcast, which I hope to reveal very soon. But until the next time, keep on dancing.